Title: Arrogant Judge Edward Chen insults Karoline Leavitt in court. Minutes later, Pam Bondi handcuffs him. The courtroom buzzed with murmurs as the Honorable Judge Edward Chen entered, his black robe flowing behind him like a cape. The gavel in his hand wasn't just a symbol of justice, it was a scepter he wielded with pride. No one dared challenge him, his decisions were absolute, his demeanor cold, and his intolerance for dissent legendary. But that morning, something felt different. The air was tense, electric. Seated at the plaintiff's table, Karoline Leavitt, a young, poised woman in her late 20s, clutched a folder of documents with trembling fingers. This was her first time appearing in federal court as lead counsel, and it was a civil rights case with national implications. Judge Chen glanced over his glasses at her. His eyes held no kindness. "Ms. Leavitt," he said, his tone drenched in sarcasm, "I assume you brought coloring books to accompany your arguments today." A cruel chuckle rippled across the courtroom. Karoline's heart skipped. She felt the heat rise in her cheeks but steadied herself. This wasn't about her ego. This was about justice, for a disabled war veteran who had been denied housing access. She stood tall. "Your Honor," she said, "I assure you, my arguments are based on the Constitution, not crayons." Her voice didn't shake. Not once. But Judge Chen wasn't done. For the next hour, he interrupted her, ridiculed her legal training, and dismissed her motions with contempt. The defense smirked, enjoying the spectacle. What they didn't know was that someone was watching. Someone with authority, and a quiet fire. Pam Bondi, former Florida Attorney General and now a federal ethics inspector, sat unnoticed in the back of the courtroom. She had come to observe the case quietly after receiving multiple reports about Chen's courtroom conduct. What she witnessed stunned her, not just unprofessionalism, but abuse of power. She could see how Karoline held back tears while defending a man who could no longer walk, let alone stand for himself. The veteran, Sergeant Thomas Rourke, sat silently in his wheelchair, dignity intact despite the humiliation unfolding before him. Karoline leaned down and whispered to him, "We're still going to fight. Even if the judge doesn't believe in us." He gave a small nod, lips trembling. Pam stood and walked out of the courtroom. She didn't wait for the trial to end. In her hand was a manila folder, containing formal complaints, transcripts, and witness statements. She'd seen enough. And the law was on her side. Back in court, Judge Chen leaned forward. "Ms. Leavitt, I suggest you consider a new career. You clearly don't have the spine for federal litigation." That was the moment the doors slammed open. Everyone turned. Gasps filled the chamber. Pam Bondi, flanked by two federal marshals, stepped in, holding her badge high. "Judge Edward Chen," she declared, voice strong and clear, "you are hereby